Hello everyone, welcome to today's presentation. I'm excited to talk to you about the conservation of plants and animals. The title of our session is Conservation of Plants and Animals. We will explore why protecting our biodiversity is so important, the challenges we face, and some ways we can help. I look forward to sharing this important topic with you. Let's get started. Welcome to this overview of our presentation. On this slide, we have the contents that we'll be exploring together. We'll start by understanding the issue of deforestation, which is one of the major environmental challenges today. Then, we'll look into the consequences of deforestation, such as loss of biodiversity and climate change impacts. Next, we'll discuss related phenomena like drought and desertification, which are often linked to deforestation and climate imbalance. Moving forward, we'll explore the importance of conserving our forests and wildlife, including concepts like wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, and biosphere reserves, all of which play vital roles in protecting our natural heritage. We'll also focus on the flora and fauna that depend on these habitats, emphasizing endangered animals and endemic species that need our attention and conservation efforts. Projects like Project Tiger aim to safeguard specific species, and tools like the Red Data Book help us track endangered species globally. Additionally, we'll cover topics like ecosystem dynamics, migration of animals, and the significance of reforestation and recycling, especially paper recycling, as practical ways to support environmental sustainability. Finally, we'll conclude with a note of appreciation, thanking everyone for their interest and commitment to protecting our environment. All these points connect to our overall theme of understanding and preserving the delicate balance of nature for future generations. Today, I want to talk about deforestation, which is a term you've probably heard before. Essentially, deforestation is the process of clearing forests and using that land for other purposes. This could be for agriculture, urban development, or even logging. The key point here is that it involves removing trees from an area, which can have significant impacts on our environment. Trees are crucial because they absorb carbon dioxide, support biodiversity, and help maintain the health of our ecosystems. When we clear forests, we're not just losing trees, we're also disrupting the balance of nature and contributing to climate change. Throughout this presentation, we'll see how deforestation connects to larger issues like global warming and loss of biodiversity, making it a critical topic to understand. Now let's take a closer look at the causes of deforestation. First, we have land procurement. This refers to the process of acquiring land, often for agricultural purposes, which leads to the clearing of forests. It's a major driver, especially in areas where agriculture is expanding rapidly. Next, we have natural causes. These include forest fires and droughts, which can significantly damage forested areas. While some of these are natural, climate change is making these events more frequent and severe, further accelerating deforestation. Then there's construction. Building houses, roads, and factories requires clearing large patches of forest land. This kind of development is essential for economic growth, but it often comes at the expense of our forests. Finally, resource use plays a big role. People use wood for fuel, and it's also a primary material for making furniture and other products. This demand increases pressure on forests, especially in regions where sustainable practices are not widely implemented. All these causes are interconnected and contribute to the ongoing challenge of deforestation, which impacts biodiversity, climate, and our overall environment. Understanding these causes helps us to develop better strategies to address them. Let's take a closer look at the effects of deforestation. One of the most immediate impacts is the increase in temperature and pollution levels on our planet. When forests are cut down, there's less vegetation to absorb carbon dioxide, which contributes to global warming. Speaking of which, global warming itself rises as the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere increases, creating a cycle that accelerates climate change. Another important consequence is the impact on groundwater. Deforestation often leads to a lowering of the groundwater levels because there are fewer trees to help retain water in the soil. This reduction can severely affect water availability for both ecosystems and human use. Now, when the soil's ability to hold water diminishes, it can lead to more frequent and severe floods. The soil loses its capacity to absorb rainfall, which causes excess water to run off quickly. Conversely, deforestation can also cause droughts, as less rainfall is retained in the soil, leading to decreased water availability over time. These changes disturb the natural balance of our environment. When the balance is upset, it can trigger a cascade of effects, including soil erosion. Without trees to anchor the soil, it becomes more susceptible to erosion, which depletes soil fertility and can even lead to desertification, turning once productive land into desert. In summary, deforestation has far-reaching consequences that threaten the stability of our climate, water resources, and land. Understanding these impacts helps us see why protecting our forests is so critical for maintaining the health of our planet. When we talk about droughts in this context, the key point to understand is how interconnected our environment really is. Fewer trees mean less carbon dioxide is being absorbed from the atmosphere. This is critical because CO2 is a greenhouse gas that traps heat. So if we have less trees, more CO2 stays in the air, and that leads to an increase in global temperatures. Now, higher temperatures can disrupt the water cycle, the process that includes evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. When this cycle gets disturbed, it often results in less rainfall. And with less rain, droughts become more likely and more severe. This connects directly to the overall theme of how human actions, like deforestation, can accelerate climate change and cause a ripple effect of environmental problems. So, protecting our forests isn't just about trees, it's about maintaining the balance that keeps our climate stable and our water cycle functioning properly. Let's talk about desertification. When the top layer of soil is removed, it exposes the harder, rockier layers underneath. These lower layers contain very little humus and air, making them much less fertile. Because of this, the soil starts to resemble a desert, dry, barren, and unable to support plant life. This process is what we call desertification. It's a significant issue because it directly affects soil health and agricultural productivity, which ties into our overall discussion on environmental challenges and the importance of sustainable land management. Let's talk about the conservation of forests and wildlife. To protect these vital resources, we establish special areas such as biosphere reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, and national parks. Biosphere reserves are large protected areas that aim to conserve biodiversity while also supporting the traditional lifestyles of local tribal communities. They serve as a model for sustainable coexistence between humans and nature. National parks are designated areas where wildlife can live freely without human interference. These parks help preserve habitats and natural resources, providing safe spaces for animals to thrive. Wildlife sanctuaries are another important conservation tool. They specifically protect animals from disturbances, ensuring they have a safe environment to live and breed. All these areas play a crucial role in maintaining ecological balance, which ties back to our overall goal of sustainable development and environmental preservation. Now, let's talk about biosphere reserves. These are large protected areas that serve a dual purpose, conserving biodiversity and supporting the traditional lifestyles of local tribal communities. Biodiversity, as you may know, refers to the rich variety of plants, animals, and microorganisms that inhabit these regions. The Pachmarhi Biosphere Reserve is a great example. It includes the Satpura National Park, which is known for its lush forests and diverse species. In addition, there are two wildlife sanctuaries, Bori and Pachmarhi, that help safeguard various habitats and species. Overall, biosphere reserves play a crucial role in balancing conservation efforts with the needs of local communities, aligning perfectly with our theme of sustainable development and environmental preservation. Now let's talk about flora and fauna, which are key components of any ecosystem. Flora refers to the plants found in a particular area. For example, in Pachmarhi, you'll find a variety of plants such as sal, teak, wild mango, jamun, and silver ferns. These plants are not only beautiful but also essential for maintaining the ecological balance. On the other hand, fauna are the animals that inhabit the same area. In Pachmarhi, the fauna includes animals like wild dogs, cheetahs, wolves, leopards, blue bulls, and barking deer. Understanding the flora and fauna helps us appreciate the rich biodiversity of places like Pachmarhi and highlights the importance of protecting these natural habitats. It's a reminder of how interconnected everything is in nature. Endemic species are quite fascinating because they are unique to a specific area and aren't found anywhere else in the world. When we talk about endemic flora, for example, in Pachmarhi, we mention plants like sal and wild mango. These species are specially adapted to this region's environment and are a vital part of its ecological identity. On the fauna side, we have animals such as the bison, Indian giant squirrel, and flying squirrel, which are also exclusive to this area. Recognizing endemic species helps us understand the rich biodiversity of Pachmarhi and highlights the importance of conserving these unique organisms. It ties into our overall theme of preserving natural heritage and maintaining ecological balance. Now, let's talk about wildlife sanctuaries. These are special areas designated to protect animals and their habitats from any disturbance. The main idea here is that these places serve as safe havens where wildlife can live and thrive without interference. It's really important to note that in wildlife sanctuaries, killing or capturing animals is strictly prohibited. This rule helps ensure the safety and preservation of these species. Overall, wildlife sanctuaries play a vital role in conserving biodiversity and maintaining ecological balance, which ties into our larger theme of environmental conservation and responsible stewardship of nature. Now, let's talk about national parks. These are special areas set aside specifically for wildlife conservation. They provide a safe space where animals can live freely and naturally without the immediate threat of human interference. Think of these parks as sanctuaries, where habitats and natural resources are protected and preserved. For example, Satpura National Park holds a special place in India's conservation history. It is actually the first reserve forest in the country, marking an important milestone in our efforts to protect biodiversity. Understanding the role of national parks helps us appreciate how crucial it is to conserve natural habitats for future generations. On April 1, 1973, the government of India launched Project Tiger, marking a significant step in wildlife conservation. The main goal was to ensure a viable population of Bengal tigers in their natural habitats, which is crucial for maintaining ecological balance. It was also about protecting these majestic animals from the threat of extinction. But beyond just saving tigers, the project aimed to preserve areas of high biological importance, essentially safeguarding our natural heritage. The idea was to create protected zones that reflect the diverse ecosystems across the country, so not just individual species, but whole habitats. The task force behind Project Tiger envisioned these reserves as breeding nuclei, meaning they would serve as core areas where tigers could thrive and reproduce. From these strongholds, surplus animals would naturally migrate to neighboring forests, helping to expand and sustain tiger populations across regions. This approach ties into the broader theme of conservation, protecting biodiversity and ensuring ecological stability for future generations. It's about creating a sustainable environment where tigers and other species can coexist and flourish. Let's talk about the Red Data Book. This book is a crucial resource because it provides comprehensive information that helps organize studies and monitoring programs focused on rare and endangered species, as well as their habitats. It's an essential reference that conservationists and researchers turn to regularly. When developing strategies to protect or rehabilitate these vulnerable species, the Red Data Book is often consulted to guide decision-making. It ensures that efforts are based on accurate, up-to-date data, which is vital for effective conservation. Overall, it plays a central role in our ongoing efforts to preserve biodiversity and maintain healthy ecosystems. Endangered animals are those whose numbers are decreasing, and if we don't take action, they might face extinction. For example, The tiger is one such animal that's slowly disappearing from our forests. To help protect tigers, our government launched Project Tiger, which aims to ensure their survival and increase their population. It's important to remember that dinosaurs, which once roamed the earth, are now completely extinct. Lastly, there are red data books, which are like record books that keep track of all the endangered plants and animals, helping us monitor and protect them more effectively. All these efforts tie into the larger theme of conservation and the need to protect our planet's biodiversity. Now let's talk about ecosystems. An ecosystem includes everything in a specific area, so all the plants, animals, and microorganisms that live there. But it's not just the living things, it also encompasses the non-living components, such as climate, water, soil, and even features like river deltas. These elements all interact and depend on each other, creating a delicate balance. Recognizing this interconnectedness is key to understanding how ecosystems function and why protecting them is so important for the health of our planet. Migration is the movement of animals from their own habitat to another habitat for a specific period each year. This usually happens because of climatic changes or for breeding purposes. It's a fascinating behavior that helps animals survive and reproduce successfully. When we talk about birds, those that travel very long distances to reach different lands are called migratory birds. These journeys can be quite remarkable, often covering thousands of kilometers. Migration highlights how animals adapt to environmental changes and seasonal cycles. It's a key part of understanding animal behavior and ecology, fitting into the larger theme of how wildlife copes with the natural world around them. Let's talk about paper recycling. Did you know that it takes about 17 full-grown trees to produce just 1 ton of paper? That's a lot of trees, and it really highlights the importance of recycling. The good news is that paper can be recycled around 5 to 7 times, which significantly extends its life and reduces the need to cut down more trees. By saving, reusing, and recycling paper, we not only protect our trees, but also conserve a lot of other resources. Recycling paper helps save energy, water, and the chemicals involved in manufacturing new paper. So, every time we choose to recycle, we're making a positive impact on the environment, supporting the overall goal of sustainability and responsible resource use. This is an easy but powerful way we can all contribute to protecting our planet. Reforestation is all about restoring our forests by planting new trees where they have been cut down or damaged. It's important that we plant at least as many trees as we remove, to keep the balance and health of our ecosystems. You know, our forests have already suffered a lot from deforestation and other human activities, and that damage can't be ignored. If we truly want to recover our green wealth and protect our environment, reforestation is really the only viable solution. It's a critical step towards ensuring a sustainable future for our planet, and it directly connects to the overall goal of preserving biodiversity and combating climate change. Thank you all for being here today. I truly appreciate your time and attention throughout this presentation. We've covered a lot of ground, from the key concepts to practical applications, all aimed at helping you understand and implement these ideas effectively. Remember, the main takeaway is how these strategies can make a real difference in your work and your organization. I hope you feel inspired and equipped to take the next steps. Once again, thank you so much for your engagement and participation. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you.